Well, you heard it right. I wrote a book and I called it, Thank God I'm Crazy. So why would anyone write a book and call themselves crazy? Well, I never thought that I would, nor that I would ever be an author. But life had other plans. So in order to explain it, I have to share a little bit of my story with you. I grew up in an abusive home where my father, one time a layman Southern Baptist minister, ruled my sisters and I with his belt and a very fundamentalist, fire and brimstone way of thinking about sin and guilt, and I always seemed to be in it. And so at 19, I married, and I thought that I had left it all. I left California and moved to West Virginia. But I was devastated to learn that I had found myself in another abusive situation. And I felt as if a door was closing inside of me. I cried a lot for no reason. And I was crying one morning, 4 a.m. on the sofa in the living room, when I felt as if there was there was me, all of me, whatever that is, was sucked up into the corner of the room, just like that, sucked up. And suddenly I was in this beautiful, euphoric, kaleidoscopic light. And I just floated, and I felt so as though I had found home for the first time. Within this kaleidoscopic light, I also started to see images. And they were like a travelogue, like places that I had never seen before. A driveway with evergreen trees lining it, a road with a sign on it with a number on it, and a sphinx-like mountain with ribboned with the highway below it, and a sign over it that was blank, a white sign that was blank. But it just kept going on. The symbols just kept going on. My reaction was to laugh. I was the happiest I'd ever been. I had no idea anything could be so joyful. Well, this went on through the next day. And I was aware of my body, and that I had 2 babies to take care of. But I kept getting pulled back into the light. And I kept laughing and laughing and laughing. Well, my husband put me in West Virginia State Mental Hospital. I was there for 9 days. And when I came out, all of a sudden, this world was what seemed crazy, not me. I mean, after all, there was hate, there was fear, there was war. There was betrayal. This was sanity. I felt that where I had been was sanity. But I pushed it out of my mind because I determined to raise my children and somehow make the marriage work. Well, 10 years later, in a college art class, I was given an assignment to create an image, and I'm not an artist, to create an image, multiple images of one thing. And so I went to the garage and I opened up the door, and there was a lamp, and very stark lamp, and I took the shade off and there was just a light bulb exposed. And I sat it down beside the stool, on the stool beside the canvas, and lifted my hand. And something took my hand. And in 45 minutes, there was a very beautiful painting in front of me. I was exhausted, and so I went in and laid down. Then I came back to see, did it really happen? It had. And in some way, I can't explain how, I could see my future in that painting. In some visceral way, I knew that everything I had and knew was going to be taken from me. And it was. But somehow, this painting gave me comfort. I had a sense that whatever was going to happen was supposed to happen, and it was for my best good. And so I kept it to myself. 16 years later, my life changed forever. I had just graduated from rather well-known college in Maryland, women's college, and was feeling very confident and a little bit into myself, and you know, kind of proud of what I did. But also, it was a very dark time in my marriage, and I had just discovered that my husband was having an affair with my best friend. So, as I drove up her driveway, I saw the evergreen trees, and I recognized them. But I had planted those evergreen trees with her when they were just seedlings many years ago. But now they were as in my vision, and I saw the light coming through the trees just as I had seen in my vision. And I knew somehow there was another dimension of life that I did not know. I didn't know if it was guardian angels or a God I had never met, but it didn't matter. From that point on, I had an unprecedented trust in this inner knowing, this inner voice, that that somehow was coming through me. I wasn't sure how. So the dark times kept coming, and more visions kept manifesting. All of my visions began to manifest in my life. But with those visions, it was as if they tugged at my inner voice, and they gave me the courage and information. You have to read the book to understand that, but literally information from these symbols. So fast forward now to a time when I thought the visions had lived out, and I was pretty much ready to party. That's kind of the way I felt about it. But then I was shocked when I started having recurring dreams that I had had as a teenager, and I saw visions of past lives. I even met people that I knew in a past life. And this all eventually, I came with the help of a therapist and support groups and healers. I came to a hypnotist who helped me, and also at that point I discovered a childhood trauma that I had blocked, that I had been pushing deeply inside of me. I had clutched it, and it was a very, very traumatic time. So somehow, as I looked at it all, it was as if I had given myself a little willingness. Just that, okay, I trust, show me. And these things, people were led to me. I was led to them, or both. And one particular event, you all probably recognize this, but I didn't believe it at the time, a book practically fell off the shelf. And it was entitled Medicine Woman. And it's written by Lynn Andrews. Do some of you know that? I see heads, yes. And Lynn Andrews, by the way, has endorsed, thank God I'm crazy. But this book mentored me back to a femininity that I had long ago abandoned. And with each dark night of the soul, life got a little better. And the joy became quicker. And the trees were greener, and the grass and the flowers were more beautiful, and my face was lighter. Each time I allowed these darknesses to pass through my life and to bring them up, to not hide them, but bring them up and look at them and then let them go. This was something, I was learning this worked. So one day, the true reason for my visions came to me, and and I understood why I was consumed in joyful laughter. It was at a time when I was sitting in a car by the ocean, and all of a sudden I remembered a childhood vision that I'd had of myself before I'd come into my body. And I was looking down on the earth, someplace on the East Coast. I was actually born in Morristown, Tennessee. And I was looking there, and it was like I was going to dive into a pond, and it was ice cold, and I had no idea how to swim. And so with that vision, I can't explain it now. You'll have to read the book. But with that vision, I knew what it meant to know that we are one. I understood that inner peace comes only through forgiveness, and that joy comes only through love. But I have to tell you, it was kind of put into my face. I had no way to escape it. That was okay. That was all right. But what I found is that love is the law. It works. So as each symbol passed through, came through my experience, you know, I thought, I was thinking of life as a dream. But then it began to feel like each condition, each dark night of the soul was a dream itself. You know, and when it was over, it was gone. It came, I faced it, I loved it, I forgave it, and it was gone. And, so I thought of life being a dream and these dreams happening, but what I knew for sure is that I was real. I was not changing. I mean, I was changing, but I was not disappearing, I was growing. I was getting stronger and happier. But for 25 years, after those visions, I kept it secret because I thought people would think I was crazy. Life is a dream. Then one day, I was led by a friend to a meeting where they were talking about a book entitled A Course in Miracles. This modern day philosophy was telling me that life is a dream, like other ancient philosophies and Eastern religions have also done. And I began to think, okay, it's a dream. It's a condition. It's just a condition that we're in. But when we think about life being an illusion, we're not an illusion. We are real. And what are we here for? We're discovering our own greatness. You know, Marianne Williamson has said that our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate, but our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. And I'm pleased to say that Marianne Williamson has also endorsed, "Thank God I'm crazy." So for me, A Course in Miracles was a certificate to sanity. And some call life a classroom or a stage, or even, I mean, just an illusion, a school. But does it really matter what we call it? What matters is that we're growing, and that I'm growing, that I'm peeling away the layers of fear, and that even when this body drops, I don't. I continue to grow, one lesson at a time, and one lifetime at a time, because there is life and only life. So, but But nothing could have prepared me for the final revelation. And I stood upon that mountain. And the details are in the book. But I realized at that moment, as I curled my feet into the soil, what it was that I needed to know, what this intended epiphany was. And I'll save that for your reading. And it is something that might sound quite mysterious, but it is very redeeming. And as I stood there, I remembered what the Course in Miracles says, that the holiest place on earth is where an ancient hatred has become a present love. Well, I know I may leave you wondering, and I hope so. I've taken 10 years to write Thank God I'm Crazy, and it is my gift, and it is my heart's desire to bring to you new dimensions of life, and especially new dimensions to your own life. And, I've been guided now by visions for many years, and these images and what I've come to call symbols. But I'm not special. We can all do this. Everyone's symbolic messages are different. Deity is not in the messenger, but the message is vision. And A Course in Miracles says that, of course, you could in fact gain vision from just that table if you would withdraw all your own ideas about it and look upon it with a completely open mind. A mystic looks at a rock and says that it is projecting a deeper level of reality. But a materialist looks at a rock and says, that's all there is. So we have a choice. We have a choice, and it's all inside of us to be discovered. I do offer workshops for opportunities for opening to your own inner voice, because that's what these images were all about. They stimulated my inner voice, my inner knowing. It was just a reflection of me. And they, so if we all give ourselves permission and have just a little willingness, then we can be inspired by thoughts that just seem to come out of nowhere. And it's almost as if we're channeling from another realm. And we can make our own dreams come true. We're entering an unprecedented era of consciousness. And A Course in Miracles is a guide in a language of our time. We are linked together globally with technology, and that brings us closer. Communication creates empathy and understanding. And it builds appreciation for the fact that we are all the same. We are all one, and we all want love. So I know why laughter was my first response in that beautiful kaleidoscopic light. The truth was that there is no healthier response to life than laughter. It is transforming. It elevates. A Course in Miracles says, if we're not in joy, we're not in truth. So I would like to leave you with this one thought. See only love, for that is what you are.